So if X-Men First Class is kind of the beginning of this train starting to get off the rails just a little bit, we are now fully derailing here with X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah,
we are. Man, I talk about the Devil's Trilogy here.
Is that what it's called? Is that what we do?
That's not fair. I should not rope First Class in here. But
no. First Class is way better than this film.
For sure. But I do think whether like in release order, the way that this went is you had X-Men that was well received, X2 that was very well received, and then X3 that was a big letdown, Origins that was almost the death of the franchise, and then First Class came back after. So we're kind of just reversing the release order with our watch order here. But either way, they all kind of come together. And yeah, man, we almost didn't watch X-Men Origins Wolverine because it doesn't really have any relevance to the ongoing story. Like, they never really reference back to things. But ultimately, because we were doing this in preparation for a Deadpool movie, we realized that we had to, because this is actually the first appearance of Deadpool in an X-Men film.
And boy, was I glad we did. Because what would I have done with my life if I didn't know that there was one adamantium bullet that wouldn't kill Logan? It would just perfectly cause memory loss.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, just enough. Like, that's always the funny thing to me. Is
just
like,
enough that he has some flashes.
Yeah. And also, like, when people have just total, like, don't remember anything about who they are, and I don't know, like, I'm sure that there are versions of this, but I'm always like, where does that, like, where do you draw the line? Like, what do you, how do you remember English? Like, if you have no idea where you came from, like, how do you know, like, grammar rules? Or like...
It's like people that lose their memory or have dementia still can remember songs and things like that.
That's true. That's true.
That's the language for them.
But
apparently, it's not my call. Also, you introduce us to a very, very sweet family on the farm, only to have them just grotesquely murdered in front of you. And the other most memorable thing from this film is just how animated and cartoonish the claws look in the famous Wolverine bathroom sequence.
Yeah.
Just mind-bending graphics. Get ready. Prepare yourself.
Here's what's wild to me about that is I have gone back, and as someone that's a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings films, as anyone that has eyes should be, I have watched so many
and a brain,
so many cuts or not cuts necessarily, but Jackson is one of these directors that will go back in and actually kind of restore things. Like, he will touch up CGI and things, but not in like the George Lucas-y way. Like, he's really, really OCD and he just wants to make sure it's all aging as well as you can make it age, which I respect. And it's easier for him than it is for other movies because Jackson leaned into practical effects so much in those Lord of the Rings films, like we said with the original X-Men's. But here, I don't understand why. Not even, I get it, maybe like post Fox acquisition, but in all the years, this movie's just hanging out there. Just fix that one scene of the claw CGI. I'm not saying that like the CGI in the rest of the movie is great, but there's clearly one scene where it is like next level bad.
But then we wouldn't have gotten to see it. Think about if I never got to see that.
That's true.
Wouldn't you be sad?
That's true. But there are.
Look, there's not a ton of redeeming qualities about this film, to be honest. It's, I think, either the bottom 1 or 2 on almost everybody's list.
Yeah.
It's just so strange that it exists. It's so strange that it exists that Deadpool in Deadpool 2 comes back and reverses that he's even in the film.
Yeah.
Because it's just a strange one. I'm not going to lie. This is where the timelines just don't make sense. The character traits you're learning don't always make sense. The backstory for Logan doesn't always make sense and line up with the Logan you know. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a banger.
And what's so strange about it too, there are so many things that are strange, including them not fixing the CGI claws. But like X-Men 2, it gives us his entire like what he's forgotten story, right?
Backstory.
Like, we find out he volunteered And that's kind of all we need to know. So it transforms him from victim to willing participant, which kind of like plays into the anti-hero thing that Logan has going. But like you see that he's got some kind of military background. You see the flashes of him coming out, and it's very visceral. And then Brian Cox is so good as Stryker in that movie. And then like, why do we spend a third of this movie just literally retelling that story, but way worse
and different,
and like less than 10 years later? Like this isn't even like
like the Amazing Spider-Man after
the Raimi Spider-Man.
Look at the veins popping out of his neck.
At least that was 10 years later. This is 2009, I think. So it's not even. It's like 6 years later. They're like, let's do this, but worse, because that's what the people want.
And I want our audience's lasting image to be of Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting on top of a nuclear reactor.
Yep.
As the entire thing gets taken down by Deadpool, who has laser eyes. So just remember that.
Yeah, and then Sabretooth, who has been really key to the entire plot of the movie, just vanishing and there being no follow-up ever.
And he's been his arch nemesis from day one, all of a sudden having a miraculous turn. And they fight together hand in hand, literally. So that's X-Men Origins Wolverine. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Where can they find it?
Disney Plus.
But our episode of it is available wherever you get your podcast. You can figure out where to find the stupid movie. We'll see you next time here on Friends from Work.